Cries win this game. SKOL Vikings, honor your name. Go get that first down, then get a touchdown. Rock 'em, sock 'em, fight, 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 fight. Go Vikings, run up the score. You'll hear us yell for more. V-I-K-I-N-G-S. SKOL Vikings, let's go!
What's up, party people? It's T-Money here with episode 12 of Voices of Vikings podcast. As always, I've got two homeless guys with me. I got Joey Two Hands and your boy D. How's it going, guys?
You know, we're pretty terrible this week.
Uh-oh. Broke the consistency.
Voila!
Broke that consistency as well. Nice. We're setting new traditions in this cast.
Yes, sir.
Lots to hang the heads about after last week's loss, so thought the best way to start this cast off would be with knocking back a little bit of that old elixir to drown our sorrows. So as we start off this cast, if you're listening to this on Thursday night before the Vikes game, probably want one of these to fill up your old cup, and we'll knock back a shot for the boys. So, SKOL Vikes, boys! Now that that's out of the way, I feel like I'm ready to, talk through my therapy, get this out of the way, talk to my boys about how that went down, and then we're going to shift gears. We're going to talk about our primetime purple matchup this Thursday night against the Steelers from Pittsburgh. So, I'm not going to go through an agenda. I decided I'm going to can that. We do the same thing every time. If you can't figure it out by now, then choose some Big Red. So, Divisional Breakdown. Obviously, the Cheese were on a bye week last week, so they sit at 9-3, first in the division, first in the conference. Cute. I'm going to vomit. Vikes bring up second. We're obviously 5-7. Everybody knows what happened. We lost to the Lions. Sweet. This week we play the Steelers, like I mentioned. We are currently 9th in the conference, so that's 2 spots out of the playoff. Bears, how'd they shake out last week? I think I heard some squealing Bears on Sunday.
Yeah, they didn't do too good. Cardinals got the best of them there, 33-22.
Ouch.
Kyler Murray was back. D-Hop was back. It was not a good day to be a Bear.
Yeah.
They go on and take that stinky, moldy Cheese next week. If there was a way that both teams could lose, I would love it. But at this point, go Bears.
Go Bears.
Da Bears.
Da Bears. And Joe gets the worst, that drew the short straw somehow. Although it was comical up until this point, now he gets the daggers. How the hell did the Lions do last week, Joe?
Do I have to talk about them?
I don't think so.
Okay, let's move.
Who do they play next week?
They play the Broncos in Denver.
Go Broncos.
Go Broncos. I was going to say, go Broncos.
Pain.
2 gloves.
Pain.
All I know is pain. All right. Well, by no means are we out of it. I think we got a couple of breaks. Seattle beat the 49ers, which was nice. The Saints lost as well. Falcons lost, I believe. The Redskins decided to win. Sorry, the Washington football team of footballers.
They may never lose a game again.
Yeah.
Taylor Heineke is he's something.
Best QB to play in Washington since Kirk Cousins. So, throwing that out there.
Sure.
But anyways, not out of it. Just got to start stringing some wins together. And hopefully we can start that out, like I said, Thursday. Before we do that, though, there were some bright spots. We watched a couple of podcasts this week, just trash talking the team, fire everybody, burn it all down. If that's what you're looking for, you came to the wrong place. We like to look at the positive side of the coin here. We love our Vikings through thick and thin. If you're a Vikings fan of any tenure, you should be used to this by now. I hate saying it just as much as the next guy, but if you're here to see them go 16, 17-0 and win a Super Bowl, again, you came to the wrong cast. So we're going to keep looking at the positives here. We're going to look at the Dawgs from last week in this week's segment of Los Perros.
Doggos.
Dogs in Spanish.
I can't believe you didn't learn that from last
El
week.
Doggos.
I'm surprised you didn't. I'm disappointed you didn't spend this last week learning how to say that in Spanish.
I'm pretty sure Los Perros is dogs.
But these dogs of the week.
D's Perros.
I did take French in high school, so we'll do this here. We'll do it the French way. Les dogs.
Croissant.
Les dogs with the croissant.
Who gets these awards, D?
So, for our dogs this week, we got some familiar faces. Offensively, love to give it to this guy. Obviously, my favorite player. I promise you it's not just bias. I'll tell you by his stats anyway. But give this one to Jeddah's Justin Jefferson. Kid had 11 receptions, 182 yards, and 1 touchdown. Puts him at about 78 receptions in the season, 1,200 yards, which puts him at, I believe, second in the league.
Nice.
And 7 touchdowns. So, came up huge. Unfortunately, Thielen left early with an ankle injury. Fortunately, it's not broken or anything. It's just a high ankle sprain. Mm-hmm. So he'll be out this week, I'm assuming. But hopefully he'll be back against the Bears the following week. Joe was saying through the whole game that, every time we'd go and throw the ball to him, he would make that play.
Oh, yeah.
And, we just needed to keep feeding him. And I think there was a few times where I don't blame anybody. Like, obviously staying positive. It's not that it was anybody in particular's fault besides, I wouldn't want to mention anybody about play calling or anything, but we'll get past that. But, just feed the kid. Give him the opportunities, get those plays to get him rocking. He's one of those guys. You throw it up there, he'll go up and he'll find it. He's got hands. We drafted him, early for a reason. He's been huge for us. So, like to see him continue that pace with Thielen out this week and go dominate against the Steelers. So, Jeddah's dog. Defensively, let me give this one to Blake Lynch.
Kid had a game.
He did. He did have quite the game. We needed him to step up, him and Vigil. Obviously, with Kendricks and Barr both out last game, hurt quite a bit to get that. And they did target the linebacker middle of the field quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
They knew that was the weak spot. They knew that was the place to target. He ended up coming up with 9 combined tackles, 2 sacks, one of which was at the end of the game. Almost sealed it for us with that forced fumble. He got in there really quick, got around, still, after Goff evaded him, still made the tackle, got the ball out, and got it back. So, huge play there. Puts him at 32 tackles, 2 sacks, and 1 forced fumble on the season.
Nice.
So it's good to see him kind of take place. We're hoping to get Kendricks and Barr back, but it's good to have him show out like that for that other side of the linebacking side that we need. So, Blake, duh. The honorable mention, this one was a little more difficult because there was a lot of people that could have fit in here. Just because of, it was all a couple different people that did pretty decent. I'm going to give this one to the grade 8, Kirk Cousins. Went 30 for 40, 340 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions still. So that puts him at 305 for 446, about 3,300 yards, 25 touchdowns, and only 3 interceptions still in the season. That's pretty darn good. He definitely makes good decisions with that, and make sure to not just throw the ball wherever. When we say throw it up to Jefferson, he still doesn't. If he's triple covered or something, he knows his limits. He knows he's not going to chuck it up there when something stupid like that or whatnot.
Right.
So it's good. I do think play calling was not in his favor a lot of times. I think the play calls that were made, the checkdowns weren't. There was too many of them, and I think it didn't favor him because, the play was supposed to be something different. The check down was just there. He's taking what's available. Mm-hmm. But the play call didn't give him any other option. The option was, Jefferson maybe doing a deep post route. Mm-hmm. And since he was covered right away, well, then his only option is either try to roll out or, take a sack or something or dump it down to the check guy. And so it's just one of those things that we need our offensive line to give him some more time, and we need the play calls to give him a few more options. I think he's doing the best he can. We just need to give him the different people open, and he'll make the plays. So, Kirk, dog.
Nice. I like it. I'm going to hang on that for a second because obviously we all know that's my favorite player. I'm super biased. So he moved to 5th in overall passer rating in NFL history. I think behind like Rodgers, Drew Brees, Tom Brady, and someone else. In that podcast we were talking about, mentioned that it's because he checks down all the time and he only plays for his own stats and blah, 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 blah. 340 yards. I don't think that's playing for himself. I do think he is conservative with the ball for sure. I don't think anyone would argue that. But I'd also think that on 3rd and 9, when you run a wide receiver screen and have KJ Osborne and Justin Jefferson cut blocking the corners and have Thielen coming in for the wide receiver screen, like, all respect to Thielen, and of course he gets injured on that play. But like, we're running a wide receiver screen. Let's throw it to Justin Jefferson, who's like the fastest player on the field. Not necessarily Thielen, who's more of the, route runner. He's more of the technician. He gets open with his moves, not necessarily his speed. So,
right.
Also, don't want to trash talk too much, but some of that stuff is just like, the players are out there to execute what's called. And that's all they can do. So if Cousins is someone who simply executes what's called, that's the kind of quarterback I want on my team, not someone out there going willy-nilly and throwing 6 picks in a game.
Right.
Two Hands has a hand up.
That wide receiver screen you're talking about was on the first 3rd down, 3rd and 9, on the first possession of the game. So that was a fun start to that game.
On a drive where we threw 2 tight end screens to Tyler Conklin. Great name, Tyler. I mean, stud for that. But again, like, they knew what was coming and they could not stop it. I don't think we learned that early enough in the game because I don't think we tested it. I think especially with Thielen going down, it was like, crap, we need to throw a seam route to CJ Ham because there's no way we're going to throw it to JJ. And then they finally started throwing it to JJ and he gets 11 catches for $180 or something like that. Like,
Right.
Let's keep throwing it to him even if he's our only option. Give it to him.
And we got to make those play calls good that were, it was too easy for them to figure out, obviously. I mean, hard to see on our side with this screen how they have it. A lot of times they focus in on the line and the quarterback and stuff, so you don't see sometimes those deeper routes until the ball's already thrown.
Yeah.
But for as quickly as, and I think it also goes a little bit on the offensive line too for no time, because for as quick as he had to go and throw that check down to get the ball away, I mean, it didn't give JJ a chance to even really make a play, or maybe he did make a play and they were already way covered. You never, we can't really see or whatever, but it all kind of goes down to the offensive line needed to make a little more time for him, and I think the play calls just got to be a little more in our favor. I mean, like Joe said, the 3rd and 9s are not a time for screen passes. I'm sorry. I mean, it's a time for a play action. Get those yardage. Try to get close up there. Don't screen pass to get you down, because then you lose down or lose yards, and then it's not even like a 4th and 1 or whatever where you can go for it. It's 4th and 12.
Right.
So.
Yeah, they mentioned, and we chatted about it in a FaceTime, the script. Oh, we script 15 plays. I think that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You're an NFL coach. You should script 0 plays. Go out there and run a play, and then you should be nimble enough. I can do it in Madden. If I run stretch and get -2, my next play isn't going to be dive. I'm going to throw the ball because I need to get 6. If I run stretch and I get 4, cool. Then my next play could be dive. But every single play impacts the next play call. So to say you script 15 and that you're proud of that, like, okay. And then the last thing I want to say on this too, and try not to hang too far on this, but the officiating is really starting to burn me this year, man. Cousins gets raked across the face, fumbles it, no face mask called, and then you even hear the head of officiating come back in and go, yeah, he pulls his face mask, but in the speed of the game, you can't really see it. Like, his helmet was on sideways. How can you not see that? Like, I just didn't even understand. And of course, it ends up in a turnover. You would think that'd be reviewable to look back and see. You clearly got face masks. I squealed when I was yelling so loud. My voice literally cracked because that was, momentum with that. They got their second touchdown and went up 20-6. I sat there by myself and I said, we're screwed. It's over.
Yeah, in a league that they preach so much about protecting quarterbacks and make those calls, you can't land with your weight on the quarterback. You got to tackle him a certain way. You can't go too low. You can't go too high. You can't touch. All that crap. And to miss that one, oh boy, that was
absurd,
egregious.
Yep. So, anyways, I'm starting to get red in the face, starting to sweat. So I think it's time we put that one behind us. Like we said before, we're down. We're not out. We're going to keep cheering for our team. So let's talk about our upcoming primetime purple game. Again, against the Steelers. Kickoffs 8:20 Eastern, 7:20 Central. And we'll talk about newly named section, T-Money's Money Shots. Sure. I don't know. Keys to Victory is getting old to me. I want something cool like Two Hands Players to Watch or D's Dawgs, not, T-Money's Keys to Victory.
Hey. You got to say it with a little more enthusiasm. It's, if they could see you type it up, the VIK is capitalized, as in Victor, as in Vikings. It's the keys to VIKtory.
That was much better than I've ever introduced it myself. So we'll keep it. From now on, you intro it.
All right.
That was incredible.
I got you.
Sick. All right. Well, I don't want to say I phoned it in, but we're 5-7. I almost wanted to put the Keys to Victory as like score more points than the other team. Be efficient with 2 minutes and less. Those types of things. But I did pull a few together here. Number one, we need the defense to step up. I was looking back at the schedule. There have been far too many games where we've allowed more points than we've scored. That means we lose. Ooh. So I want the defense to hold them under 20. Okay. I think that's a nice kind of middle point. Usually if we score over 20, we've done that in all but 3 games this year. Usually that can drive home a win. So I'm hoping we hold them under 20. We're still doing well on turnovers and things like that, so I think that can be a big factor. Our defense usually does play pretty well. Bend, don't break. We've said it before on the cast. Let them into the red zone is fine. Don't let those big plays and then dig the heels and hold them to a field goal. So, but we do need to find a couple of ways on defense to get a couple extra sacks. So on the season we got 36. That's 3 per game. But we need to get a couple more than that. I'd like to see us get to 5. Something like that. Cause some disruption back there.
If I could add something to that, I definitely agree. And we need to take advantage of the fact that Ben is about as mobile as a refrigerator. Mm-hmm. He's kind of getting down there where you've seen some clips of it. People, joke about it a lot. Where he's not, mobile. He's the guy that he drops back a few steps. He steps up a few times and makes that throw. You get him uncomfortable anywhere, he's going down. He's like a Dirk in basketball. Right. You're not getting far with him. So we need to take advantage.
Doesn't help that he's as old as our dad.
Correct.
Poor guy out there. He's what, 70, 72 or something like that?
172. I think you missed the one in the front of that. Yep.
My bad.
Yep. Got stones on his feet, so we need to take advantage of that for sure.
Cement shoes. All right, number 2. I think we saw it last game. I think we know what type of team we are. We're a pass-first team. Just has to be the way that it is. So let's throw it downfield. Just going to call for over 300 passing yards. We're 7th in the league in passing this year. Their defense is 17th. I think it bodes well for us. We need to hit JJ. We need to hit KJ. Like to see D.D. Westbrook get some action. I don't even care who's catching the ball. Honestly, I don't care if we're having JJ throw it. We just need to get the ball in the air. They're, I think, like 13th or something like that in rush defense. So their pass defense is where they're suspect. So let's attack it. Attack it! And last, this one was my most phoned in of the 3 keys to VIKtory. Play 4 quarters. There's no Usually I try to do a key to victory and how I'm going to measure whether or not we were successful in that key. This one I don't really have a way to measure, but if you watch the game, you'll know. I feel like we need to, be within 3 points in each of the quarters. We need to not be getting penalties. We need to play football for 60 or more minutes in order to come out of here with a W. I think we do those 3 things. I think we can slide to 6 and 7. We'll get a nice 10-day break before a Monday night matchup against the Bears. So that's the keys, boys.
I like them.
I like them as well.
You could put that on a key ring with all those keys.
Get a keychain out.
Hey.
Hang those keys on the key rack.
We'll unlock the door to victory with those keys.
Nice.
All right, I'm done now. I'm done with that.
MCD. All right. Well, we're flying through this, which is great. Last official segment of the cast, headed into our game against the Steelers. We got, I didn't do it. I don't know Spanish. Dos manos. That's the only part I know. But I'm going to keep my ojos on dos players in this game.
Let two hands.
Tell us who we're keeping those hands on this week, Joe.
Pause.
It sounded great to me.
That was terrible.
It sounded great to me. I'll take it. I'll take it. Well, we're going to swap things up a little bit this week. And instead of giving the offense first, I want to go straight to the defense because I think that's where a lot of work needs to happen. I think you've touched on it every single week besides this week, and this is the week that I think it came more into focus, is that the Vikings defense is going to allow the most points in an NFL season in the last 2 minutes of either half, total. They're about to break the record. I think they're 6 points short right now. That record is also held by the Vikings in 2020. So that's exciting. The defense
breaking records, baby.
Has been on a decline. Not I was gonna say, a decline. So we're gonna jump right to the defense. I want to talk about Patrick Peterson coming back off of COVID list. He's been injured a little bit this year. Hasn't really been what we were expecting. Obviously, injuries and COVID that affects that, but overall as well, we're expecting what he was when he was on the Cardinals. But the Steelers like to throw the ball. They're pretty good at running it too, but they like to throw it a lot. And I'd like to see Patrick Peterson against Deontay Johnson shut him down. So maybe some turnovers, a pick. Number 7, keep an eye on Patrick Peterson.
Yes, sir. I like it. Let's get a pass defense, maybe a sack or something. It's those splash plays that we need someone on defense to step up and make something happen. Don't just even make the play, like make something happen. Yeah,
it'll change the entire game. Not only will it 100%. Bring the defense up, it'll bring the offense right back on track too. Get those guys excited, playing better, playing harder. So
you saw how quick we scored after Lynch got the strip sack.
Yeah, dude.
It was like 2 plays after that, and we're in the end zone, gritty and all over the place. So
I'm a firm believer in the statement of defense wins championships.
100%.
Firm believer.
For sure. You can see the games that we've won this year. Offense can win you a game. It's not going to win you 2 in a row even. Like, your offense is going to get tired. We beat the Lions if our defense holds down.
Yeah.
Multiple of the games that we've lost, we could have easily won if our defense would have just held firm in the end.
I mean, look at, the Patriots, for example. They do great. Bill Belichick does a great job with that team. Is their offense spectacular? I mean, they're young and they're pretty good, but what's really keeping them up there is they have the number 1 defense right now. They're just lockdowns. I mean, when you get that, you stop people. It sounds stupid. When you stop people from scoring, then you can score more points and you can win. I mean, it's just you have to stop them.
Right. You hold them to 10, you only got to score 14.
Correct.
Whereas we're giving up 30. We got to score 35. I mean, that's a lot to ask week in, week out.
Correct.
So.
Correctus.
anyways, offense. Who we watching on offense?
Beautiful. I love the discussion. It's great. Moving. I mean, we have a lot of time this week. I didn't have a lot of time last week. I don't know what to do with it.
He doesn't know what to do with his
I did
hands.
put my hands up to the camera. This week, though, I'm going to have to, for the offense here, I'm going to have to say Mattinson. Had a pretty good game last week. Didn't break 100. Averaged 4.1 per carry. Had a touchdown. Pretty solid week, you know. I can't ask much more than that from running back. Watch him again this week. The Steelers on yards per carry are last in the NFL for defense.
Oh, wow.
So look for him to kind of break that. I think they're like somewhere in the high 20s for overall yardage, but yards per carry is what I like to look at. So look for him to exploit that, get the play action rolling, get the ball to Justin Jefferson, KJ Osborne, throw it downfield later on. So, yeah, player to watch on the offense there.
Number 25, Matt.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah. I like watching him run. Good kid. Seems like I can say that now because I'm over 30. So I'm 5 to 10 years older than all these kids. So it's good to see him out there, getting his shot. So hopefully he has another nice game, puts another nice game on tape. Yeah, they're 29th in the league in rush defense, so I misspoke earlier. They're 17th in pass and 29th in rush. So while I want us to throw for over 300 yards, it's going to be because we're going to have 3 touchdowns on 75-yard play-action passes. Correct. That's where all of our yards are going to come from because we're going to run it down their throat for the first 3 quarters. So,
yes, sir.
Sick. Well, that brings us into our closing statements for this game. Predictions. A large part of me wanted to throw my prediction out as 1-0 Vikes, which is obviously impossible. Can't score 1 point, except after a touchdown, because all I want to do is win the game. Okay, we have a meeting every Monday at work, and a couple of people share mom and dad jokes. Haha, some knee slappers, some real dull jokes. This week, when we went to the mom joke, the lady doing the mom joke just showed a picture of the Vikings logo. So I'm already sick and tired of hearing people trash talk our team. I want to go out in prime time, look and fly, go out there and win the game. That's all that matters, because as you can see, even when you lose to the Lions by 2, no one gives a crap that we came back from 20-6 in one half and clawed our way back in to even have a shot at that game. None of that matters. JJ having 180 yards and a touchdown, Cousins 340 and 2 touchdowns. None of that matters. You lost. I don't really care what the rest of the stats look like as long as we win.
Correct.
But I did throw out a real... Sorry, what was that?
I just said that's correct.
Preach! So I did throw out a real prediction, 24-14. I think that keeps them under 20. We'll allow a couple of touchdowns, but see us in more of a dogfight and more of the games that we're used to seeing the Vikings play than these shootouts that we've had back and forth. So 24-14 Vikes. SKOL.
I'm going to go pretty close to that. I'm going to go 31-17. I still think I agree with that. We keep him under 20. Najee Harris, might be a little biased because I have him on my fantasy team in both leagues, that is. But he is a very good running back. One of the better rookie running backs coming into this season. He's done a great job for that offense. And so I think it's going to be... He's hard to take down. He's like a young Derrick Henry. He's not easy to take down. So I do think he's going to get some yardage. I still think that we're going to pull away, though. JJ's going to have 2 touchdowns at least. I'm calling. So gonna love to see that. But I still think we're going to keep him under 20, 31-17. Vikes.
I love it. I think this is going to be a big statement game for the coaching staff, actually. Play calling, Zimmer, defensive, everything. I think we're going to come out. We're going to come out throwing, shooting hot. We're going to go up early, like a 21-7 halftime lead. End up finishing the game 35-20 for a final. I think this is going to be a big game to determine kind of the future of the coaching staff. Play calling, defensive calling, just game calling in general. I think it's going to be very telling how they respond after that tough loss.
Yeah.
I agree.
Couldn't agree more. Seen on the official cast content. We got the Wild coming up. Don't worry, I didn't forget about it, Two Hands. But just because I'm sure people want to know, what do we think? I think not in a negative, mean way to Zimmer, but it's time. Love the guy. Love the tenure. I had a lot of fun with him as our coach, but it's time. I just think he's a defensive-minded coach. Our defense is playing terrible. It's just time to move on. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think I agree with that. I have nothing against Zimmer or anything. I think he's done a good job with us. I do think it's kind of time for a change, but I will say that I think Joe hit it right on the head with this is a statement game for the coaching staff. I think if they can come out and get a solid win, get some good play calling in, I think it'll make it better on them and a bigger chance for them to be able to let them continue on with the Vikings coming next season. If they can prove it and show that they can make good play calls, that they can give the opportunities to the players that we have and utilize who we have, I think that'll be a big thing because you get people like Jefferson who, I don't believe it. I think he's very happy in Minnesota, and I think he could be very happy here for the long future ahead. But I've heard people saying that they don't want him to get frustrated like Diggs did, not being that one or not getting utilized like he should, and then want to go somewhere else. I don't believe that. I just don't want to have something like that come into reality at all. So I think this would be a huge game for them, and I'd love to see them, prove that they want to stay for the Vikings.
Two Hands? 2 cents on that?
Yeah, I was going to dive into it a little more in my segment, but didn't want to take up too much time, but I'm glad we're touching on it. I think it's a pretty sensitive subject for most Vikings fans. Mm-hmm. Just looking back at the past coaches we've had for the last, before Zimmer. So, 10, 15 years ago, I mean, he's been here for 7 years, right? 7th year? 8th year? 8th year, going into this is the 8th. I mean, just looking before that, like Mike Tice, Leslie Frazier. I mean, I don't even want to go back.
Childress.
Yeah, right. So, he's done good things with the team. But I think last year, you could put some blame on COVID and all the issues with that and trying to get through a season. Okay, this year you can blame a lot of the injury bugs. Kendricks, Barr's been out for a while again. Michael Pierce, Hunter. You can blame that all day. But when it comes to that too, you do have the talent of DJ Wanham, people that are coming back. But like I said, you guys kept touching on, this is a big statement game because you do have Kendricks back. You're gonna have Barr back. Pierce is gonna be in. Patrick Peterson's gonna be in. Smith is gonna be in still. So I mean, this is a big one. This is, in my opinion, the turning point of the season. I think we have a chance to make playoffs if we win this one. If we lose, it's statistically it might not be over.
Sayonara.
It's gonna be tough to keep watching after this one if we do lose.
Yeah. Cool. Well, feel free, anyone listening, shoot us your thoughts on that situation, on the state of the franchise, whatever you want. voicesofvikings@gmail.com. Comment on our Facebook, comment on our Twitter, all that type of stuff. Feel free to interact. Be curious to hear what some other fans, maybe like-minded Vikings fans like us, who do have a positive outlook on the team, but still some of these things, I mean, it is a business. It is a decision that has to be made. These things need to be talked about. So, love to get some feedback. voicesofvikings@gmail.com. So, last but not least, the bright spot in Minnesota over the last couple of weeks while the Vikes haven't been able to stink these out. How those man-bear pigs doing? Two Hands?
I'm showing off my Wild gear, but I just realized that my camera is dead again. Died like 5 minutes ago. I'm proud of you guys for rolling with that. I was expecting when it died for Devin to kind of stumble, but that's great. Died like mid-sentence for you. No, the Wild are great. They just beat the Leafs on Saturday, which were an identical team to them. They're on a 6-game win streak right now, going into Edmonton to play the Oilers tonight, just about an hour from now. So, a lot of young talent, great players, goaltending's great, coaching's great. I mean, it's not really any weak points that I can see from this team, so I'm excited.
Nice. Good stuff. Well, other thing to plug for our listeners, let us know if you want us to continue a Wild podcast. I mean, I talk about the Wild once a week. We already kind of do. So we're thinking of things to keep our content rolling through the off season. So feel free to send us any ideas. As we always say, like and subscribe our YouTube channels, Spotify channels. I know I sound like a nerd, but all that stuff does promote these things to get shared by Facebook or something like that. And that's what's going to get some people who are out there maybe with a negative view on the Vikings to listen to us talk about how much we love the purple and gold. So hopefully next time we're coming to you live next week, we will be 6-7 with a nice statement win over the Steelers. So, but until then, as always,
SKOL VIKES.
SKOL VIKES.
SKOL VIKES.